Speaking of reactions,
have we heard anything?
John Gruden
Yeah.
is his situation in Las Vegas, which was already looking like it was going to be bad with the racially insensitive comments about DeMaurice Smith, which were disrespectful to African-American people. It's gotten worse. Mark Davis, the owner for the Raiders, had emails that were sent in from the league, Rob, and they're not from 2011 anymore. Some of them may still be, but a lot of them are from 2018. And in those emails, there were derogatory terms toward homosexuals. He really called Roger Goodell several names, including, as you said, Rob, the F word.
Yep.
Called him clueless, called him anti-football, talked about Eric Reed, who obviously was a player who was involved heavily in the protest during the national anthem, said he should be fired. That's something that probably, is not going to sit well.
Sounds like
with
another guy who used to be president.
And there's more breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
Here we go.
Breaking news from Fox Sports.
Well, the story's coming from Tom Pelissero with NFL Network, but saying that the Raiders and John Gruden are going to be parting ways.
Wow!
Saying that it is over. Of course, this all coming off of the emails that are stemming from the NFL investigation into the Washington football team, and that's where these emails came from to go to the NFL. And interesting that coming out of all this, Daniel Snyder, no charges, nothing there, but John Gruden is going to be out as the Raiders head coach.
Isn't that something?
Chris?
Isn't that something that, they were looking for Daniel Snyder.
Yeah, but you never know what you might uncover. And Chris, this is not – what did I just say to Rod? I just told Rod he's done. And you know why I said that? Because you can't clean up all of that, Chris. There's too much you can't make an excuse for every term you use and what you said about the commissioner and what you said about the gay players and what you said about the female referees and what you said about how can you clean up this after those emails came out? You can't clean all of that up. You could have made an excuse about the union chief, right, and say, hey, I didn't mean it in that light. You got 4 or 5 things to clean up. You can't clean them all up.
Yeah, he was anti-player protest when the league was talking about getting supportive of that. And the players came out with the video and all that. So this was viewed as antagonistic toward that. So, at this point, Rob, it's not that surprising. And I would say, look, let's learn lessons. Number one, as I said last segment, Rob, we're all not going to agree on everything. And we don't all have to agree on everything. And I think that's a lesson.
That's not the way the world is, right?
That's the lesson that we need to learn. Let people disagree, but we can disagree respectfully. And that's how it has to be. And then secondly, Rob, watch what you email and text people. You can't be careless, and be careful.
And I'm going to say bravo to the Las Vegas Raiders. This was their dream coach, Chris. They gave him an unprecedented $100 million 10-year guaranteed contract to a coach. Never been done before.
Rob, Gruden is resigning, they're saying, which is that's different than firing. So I wonder what the financial situation is going to be.
Right.
When you resign, you don't get paid.
Right. There'll be some sort of buyout.
They still pay. Right. I wonder, was there some type of buyout?
No, but this is what my point, Chris, and I give the Raiders credit. Their organization, built by Al Davis, has had a history of inclusion the whole time. First Hispanic head coach, Tom Flores, right? Art Shell, Chris, the first black head coach.
Right.
And what'd you say?
First female executive in the front office.
Executive in the front office. So the stuff that Gruden was saying doesn't go with their organization. That's why I knew he couldn't fit. He doesn't fit with who the Raiders are. I know they're bad, black and silver and all those crazy fans, but they've always had a consciousness about including everybody. You got to give the Raiders that, and I applaud them for saying you don't fit here. This is not who we are.
I don't know that any team could have kept him, Rob.
Probably right.
I don't know that any team could have kept him. You know, just with you mentioned it, and he disparaged. You know, we talked about it. A league that's 70% African American, you already disrespected African Americans with the email about DeMaurice Smith.
Right.
Now
about his lips.
you don't really care about the protest and what they were all about, right? You think that's foolishness, apparently.
The commissioner.
And then, like you said, the commissioner, too. I mean, the commissioner had to be like, yo, dude, like, you know, and then, you know, he's got Carl Nassib, who came out as a homosexual player. That's one of his defensive linemen who's actually played well for them. And so he's in that locker room, too. So, yeah, again, when I saw the story from the New York Times with a lot of the, you know, things that had come out in those emails,
and Chris, you worked at the New York Times, man. They do great journalism. And, you know, if you read something in the New York Times, you know it's serious.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, am I right? You got of all the stuff that's happened in your career, writing for that paper, that's the pillar of journalism.
It's arguably the best newspaper in the world. And you're right. It was an honor to work for them. And I had a ball there. I had a ball in my 6 years at the New York Times. But, yeah, Rob, this is the situation. Rob G., who's taking over? Who'd they say is the interim?
That has not been announced yet, but Adam Schefter has tweeted a little more context to it. According to him, Mark Davis arrived at the team facility a couple hours ago and went directly to find John Gruden. The two men met, and Gruden decided then that he would be resigning as the coach.
I really wonder what the financial settlement will be.
I bet you there's some sort of payout number, but he's not going to get $60 million.
No.
Rob G., what is your gut as a Raiders fan? I mean, you know, your whole team has just gotten blown up. You know, like you started out 3-0, looked like this is going to be the year. You lose a couple bad games, and now your coach is out. How do you feel as a Raiders fan?
It sucks, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, obviously he had to go with what came out. But for the longest time, or at least since Gruden got there, the issue was never his side of the ball, which was the offense. The offense was always at worst a middle of the road
head coach.
Yeah, but
you can't just say.
But that's like,
I get it, but you gotta blame me for
he
the
oversees everything.
Right. That's true. But it's like if Bill Belichick has a bad defense, you take that a little more personally because Belichick's a defensive guy.
Right.
Gruden's always been an offensive guy, and
that's fair.
Even in their worst years, they were at least a middle of the pack offense. So this year they finally get a defense that's not terrible. And you're like, hey, we might be able to do something. And then the wheels just completely fall off. And so we're back to square one. We're back being, 5-6 win team. So this is disappointing.
Well, here's the other thing, too. Gruden, Rob, his last 9 seasons coaching, and that includes years in Tampa Bay, which obviously was a long time ago. He's made the playoffs twice. 2 times in his last 9 years. And that's not including this year. So, you know, here's the other thing, Rob. Gruden, when he left coaching the first time, he really became a big-time, you know, broadcaster, right? Doing games.
No,
he was good. He was good.
He was the highest-paid employee at ESPN.
That's right. That's right. He had his quarterback camp. He was doing games, and he was good. He legitimately was good. I don't see – that's not coming back. It's not coming back.
No,
yeah.
You can't.
So
what network could hire him, Chris? No network could hire him.
No,
not with that stuff.
So big news with the Las Vegas Raiders. John Gruden is out. Your turn to weigh in on the John Gruden resignation, firing, mutual parting, however you want to term it. But officially it's a resignation because of racist, misogynistic, and homophobic emails. Your turn to weigh in.
Chris, what did I say earlier? Remember I said reminds me of Rachel Nichols, where he knew there was other stuff out there, didn't he? Like, it must have killed him. Like, you knew you wrote that stuff. Like, oh, my God, they're going through emails.
Right.
He knew it. That's why I think he wasn't going to fight it, and I think that's why you just resign and just say, okay, I'm done. All right. Let's get to some calls. Mark in Sacramento, you're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Hey, Mark, how you?
What's going on, gentlemen? Hey, guys.
What's up, man?
boy, this was a bombshell, but I knew it probably was going to happen. If Mark Davis was anything like his dad, and you guys already brought up what the Raider organization stood for,
Yep.
then Al Davis probably would have did this over the weekend if Al was alive. So this is just who they are. And you also obviously right too. He knew what was coming down the pike. If they read a few excerpts from emails that they had on Friday, you knew that the dam was about to break after the weekend. You knew that. You guys know that being in the business.
Yep.
You guys knew that was coming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That first one was just an appetizer.
Exactly. And he knew deep down, like, oh my God, and they probably, and when the league, and I said it to Chris, and he agreed with me. When the league turned it over to Mark Davis, what are you turning over?
Right, they wasn't turning over happy anniversary emails.
They said we got this. Yeah, we got this. Here, Mark. He wasn't in the league when he said these, but he's in the league now. And actually, maybe some of them he was in the league now. But they said, this is your guy. We're going to let you decide what to do with this. And they turned it directly over to the Raider organization, probably knowing this was coming down the pike.
No doubt.
All right, Mark, good call.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Let's go to Steven in Florida. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Steven?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, man.
You know, I think he really deserved to leave the Raiders, and come to think of it, I remember thinking before that he didn't seem like the nicest kind of guy, but maybe you would think he's like a tough coach, but to write that stuff out and then to insult a lot of people, I just think something's going on with him.
And you just said it. What you just said was a great point. To write it out.
Exactly.
Think about
what
that,
is
Steven.
wrong with them?
Right.
What'd you say?
To write it out, to write the homophobic slurs in an email, Chris and Steven.
I wonder if all of those were to Bruce Allen, or how many of them were. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
and Bruce Allen's out of the league, I believe, right? But I know he's not with the Washington football team. Yeah, but he'd probably be in some hot water too if he were still in the league.
Crazy. Thanks for the call.
You know,
appreciate it. How about Aaron in Virginia? You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. If you want to jump in, 877-99 on Fox. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hey guys, appreciate taking the call.
Yep.
It's shocking that the decision came so quickly, but it's definitely understood why. I mean, it sounded like John Gruden really knew that it was time. As the person mentioned, they decided to part ways. But I think Chris nailed it on the head earlier when he said, everybody's going to have different beliefs, but you can't be disrespectful to other people regardless of what their beliefs are. You got to keep them inside at some point. But it's concerning what's going to happen with Derek Carr. He seemed like he had a great relationship with Gruden. I wonder how his play is going to be affected, but it'll be interesting to see how their season.
To your point, Carr had the statement that was most supportive of Gruden after yesterday's
I wonder if
game.
it'll be today. I wonder if he'll change his mind.
Well, yeah, he obviously didn't know about these other emails. But he even talked about how, hey, we're all behind him. It's all good. We know that was in the past. I think he overstated it. He may have believed it, but I was just like, and he's white, obviously. So he couldn't speak for the black players, obviously. But, yeah, so it is going to be interesting.
Well, Chris,
they look like they had something going.
You also
Rob G,
had one of their team captains, running back Josh Jacobs, who was black, said he didn't think that he lost the locker room, that they all, as a team, were like, hey, you guys just overanalyzing it. We think he's a good guy. So,
but he also said the coaches just call the plays. The players kind of lead each other.
Exactly.
Which I thought was a little.
Those are just those two guys. You also had, every player. The guys we had on last week that played for Gruden, like, no, he's a good guy. I don't think he's
Sean
racist.
King.
Well,
Sean King,
but let's keep
you
it
had
real.
Charles Woodson, Mike Tirico. Like, there was a lot of people who were vouching for him, and then all of this comes out, and you're like, oh,
but let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. People talk like this. The things Gruden sent in emails, people talk like that. So let's not act like, oh my gosh, how in the world could he say those things? People talk like that.
It's not that, Chris. That's not. I
But
agree with you.
am I wrong?
But yeah,
All right,
no. But I'm
that's
just
all I'm saying.
But when you represent an organization,
No, I
or
agree with you, Rob. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying that everybody's
there's
perfect.
no doubt Gruden
Yes.
could be
Okay.
a cool dude at practice and joking around in the weight room and this and that and use language like that, because a lot of people that you like and we grew up with, we played with, we hang with, they use language like this when in, among people you think will be down with that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure the players were sincere when they said, oh, he's cool. We ain't got no problems with him.
Yeah, I want to hear what they say now after the rest of this stuff came out. Just the scope of it. And it's just, you don't have to be in any group, but it's just that he's all over the place with his hate talk or whatever you want to call it. Like it's everywhere. That's the part that bothers me. Rob G talked about it. The only thing that he didn't mention was he didn't bash Hispanics, but maybe we should wait an hour, Rob G. You know what I mean?
Well,
Seriously.
I mean, you guys brought up the Donald Sterling thing and, the Rachel Nichols things as well. Would they have been able to fire him over this, though? Like, had he not resigned because of the PR
Oh,
hit?
yeah, that would cause. Absolutely. Because he represents the organization.
But because a lot of this took place before he was the coach.
Doesn't matter. You know
But
what?
it could be I think that does matter, but a lot of it took place. It was the scope of it. I mean, it was a ton of stuff.
Right.
Now, and a lot of it happened in 2018.
Had we have not gotten this second batch for the New York Times, if it was just the DeMaurice,
I don't think he should have got
Yes.
fired. Yeah, I didn't think he should have got fired.
He could have survived without the second batch buried him. And then all the stuff about Goodell and the language and the words he used.
Well, I'm
There's
sure.
no way.
I mean, we had Seth Wickersham. Rob, you were off last Friday. I'm sure that there's some stuff that Robert Kraft has said about Roger Goodell that may have not been those exact words, but definitely weren't flattering.
But that's my point. That's my point, Rob. And Rod Woodson said the same thing. Let's not act like this isn't common language.
It's not. It's
It's
to
going
everybody.
away
Like
a
some of the
little
stuff
more.
that he
It's
says,
going away a little more because of political correctness.
No, I don't use
but
those.
this
I don't
is
use
language
those
that
words.
people use. Oh, people do. I mean,
I'm
like
saying
I said,
don't.
not as much.
I
don't curse, so I don't
But,
use them. I'm just saying that people use this language.
Here's the problem that I have, and it's just like everything else. We talk about it all the time. Is when it's recorded, like the Donald Sterling could have been talking like that for 30 years. Once it's recorded and once you hear it for yourself or once you read these emails and these comments, that's the game changer. Ray Rice, it's the game changer when you see the video for yourself. We know there's a difference, Chris. I agree that there are plenty of people in that very same league who have probably said some stuff that could get them fired, but you don't have a tape of it. We don't have an email of it. Nobody in their family has exposed them.
Right.
But if you were to hear that, if the son of some prominent head coach comes out and says, hey, my dad's a racist, he hates black people, and he said A, B, and C, don't tell me his job wouldn't be in jeopardy if they could corroborate that.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
I'm just saying.
I'm just
Can
saying,
we
let's
squeeze
not
in
act
one more?
shocked.
Are we done?
Shocked that somebody says some of these things.
Yeah.
All right, we got Eddie House, NBA champion, coming up. But first, Ralph
I want to hear what
Irvin with
Eddie
the
has to
update.
say. He's from Oakland and the Raiders. You know that.
And let's keep one thing also in perspective. Had he not said stuff about Commissioner Roger Goodell in particular, would he have not gone after all the rest of this stuff that came out? Just saying.
Well, I mean, so
I'm saying
I think they probably just found a ton of emails from Gruden about various things.
And there's probably more.
I'm not doubting that. I mean, I've been in enough locker rooms in enough cities and enough states to know.
Right, you know what I'm saying. Like people,
They say
people
everything
talk
under
like
the world.
this. Absolutely.
Ralph, but if you say it on the air, you won't be working here.
That's very true.
Okay, that's the point.
But nobody's disputing that, Rob. We're just saying that to act like, oh my gosh, he said that? I mean, people say that. Like I said, it's getting a little better because of political correctness, but come on.
It'll be interesting to see the fallout for sure, especially for the Raiders as an organization who has to go out and still play football for the rest of the season.